of, Clay comes back, you go out, you come back, Steph goes out?
It sucks. But sometimes that's just how the cookie crumble, and you gotta figure it out and deal with it. But boy, I mean, it's rough. It sucks. Sure. Unfortunate.
What are your thoughts on Marcus Smart's dive?
I'd expect Marcus Smart to make that play. He plays hard. I can't call that a dirty play, as unfortunate as it is. If it was a dirty play, I would have went and dove into his head. I had a pretty great look on the play. I was right up top. Maybe unnecessary, but that's the most I can call it, unnecessary. But I can't call it a dirty play. The ball's on the floor. At every level of basketball, we're taught to dive on the floor and go after the ball. And that's what Marcus did. So I can't call it a dirty play. I will say it was probably an unnecessary dive because if you don't go through him, then you don't get the ball because the ball is literally in front of him. So if anything, you can say it was unnecessary, but I can't call that a dirty play. And like I said, I'd expect if you said someone dove for the ball, Steph was trying to get it on the Celtics team, there was a loose ball, someone came and dove for it, he hurt his foot. I'd tell you right away, Marcus Smart dove for it. But in saying that, I can't say he was dirty for diving for the ball. I thought he was going after the ball, which he came up with the ball. And so if anything, you kind of just tell yourself like, I ain't going to do that because of what could happen, But I can't say he was being dirty.
Did you see the play with Marcus and Clay?
Nah.
At the rim there?
I mean, I was right there. I saw the kick. But, shit happens. I've kicked somebody before. So it is what it is.
Steve was saying before the game that, you guys still haven't found your defense again. But in the first half, you saw a great defense. What did Boston bring defensively that made it so difficult for you guys?
Yeah, I thought our defense was really good. They ended up scoring 110 points, but for the most part, they was around 80, 90 points. We just couldn't buy a bucket. And now saying that, you have to give our defense a lot of credit because they sped us up early. And then once you speed someone up early, those shots that's open don't feel so open because everything's just kind of sped up and in a rush. And so if they did anything well, I think they did a good job of switching, making us take tough shots, and they had us in a hurry. And once you get in a hurry, it's kind of hard to settle in. I thought we settled in a little bit there in that third quarter, and we made a run. But for the most part, they kind of had us sped up, and then we missed open shots. And we got a lot of open shots, but we just missed them. But, that is also a byproduct of their defense. Now, 8 turnovers. I think we did a lot of things well. We just couldn't hit shots. So you got to give our defense some credit. They've been building around that. They got Al Horford doing what he's doing, and Robert Williams sitting behind patrolling everything. And so, I think it's something that, if we were to see these guys again, I think it's something that we can figure out. But tonight it was different, and they did an incredible job, and you have to give them a lot of credit. Ime's doing a great job with that team. They started off pretty shitty, and the way they've turned their season around, they're really putting it together. So you got to give those guys a lot of credit.
Were you able to talk to Steph at all and get a feel for how he's feeling?
No, I haven't talked to him yet. So I really don't know.
Draymond, you guys have, you've been through the playoff fire. That felt like a playoff type of defense. How do you feel about this offense and how it will handle it? Looks like a lot of jumpers and a lot of perimeter stuff. Do you feel like because you haven't had the players you're going to have at the end of games playing together, that might be something to worry about?
I think anytime you can't, you haven't had the opportunity to play together, it's a worry. like we said before, it seemed like every time we get someone back, someone else go out. So that's definitely a worry because one of the most important things on offense is continuity and consistency, and we haven't been able to build that for the most part. So that is 100% a worry. I'm not worried so much about that was a playoff defense and we struggled tonight. Like, that's fine. Playoffs, you make adjustments, you figure stuff out. Like, I don't doubt that we could figure that out. But tonight it was a challenge. And so, like I said, if there's any worry, it's the lack of continuity and the lack of consistency and figuring out our rotations and different lineups that we're going to use. But I don't worry that we struggled against a playoff defense.
Draymond, how are you physically? Are you ready to take on more minutes on Sunday? Do you expect to start?
I mean, with Steph going out, that kind of changes things. Somebody leave a game limp and go get an MRI. I don't expect him back Sunday. And so that definitely changes things. So maybe I probably will be starting, especially if he's out. But I feel fine physically. The way we've tried to approach this is so I'm not sitting a long stretch, and then I started the second half because Steph was out and sat long stretch, and coming back, it was rough, So if anything bothered me, as far as my physically, it was that. But I feel great. I feel fine.
When you come off from sitting for a long stretch, what is it that
just
you have?
stiff?
Yeah.
It's hard to get back loose after that. With what I've been dealing with. So that's what we've been trying to protect against, and that happened tonight, unfortunately, but it's all good. I feel good.
Michigan State plays Davidson on Friday. You and Steph watching the game together? Any bets? Any trash
I'm not
talk?
sure he want to watch the game with me. I ain't that fun to watch a game with when my team is kicking your team ass. So I don't know if he really want to watch the game with me. But go green.
Draymond, what have you thought of how Jordan has kind of adapted to all these different asks and changes? When Clay was out, you were out, Steph goes out in this game. What do you think of his?
I think he's doing a great job, and I think he still has a long way to go, which is exciting because he's very skilled, very talented, and most importantly, he work hard. I was just telling Andre on the bench today, like, that kid can be so good if he just take the time to slow down and figure it out, which I would think he will. And, the first thing Andre said, man, you're not lying. And the crazy thing is he has the work ethic to go with it. You run into a lot of guys in this league that don't have the work ethic to figure it out. That's the least of his worries. So I think he's doing an incredible job adapting, and he's going to be really good for us as he continues to grow. I mean, he had 0 turnovers tonight. That's impressive. He had the ball the whole game. So he's figuring it out. He's going to be really good for a long time.
Man, that is some high praise from Draymond Green at the end there, especially talking with Andre.